Welcome back, boys and girls, to another episode of Kayfabe Comparisons. My name is Mr. Knowitall, Daniel John Schafer, and I am joined here once again by the rest of the Kayfabe crew. Introducing first, he is the king of the Kayfabe kickflip, Mr. Wex, breaking the Lawson. Wex, how we living today, bud?
Living pretty solid, you know. The Grizzlies won last night. We got some good wrestling last night. Ready to talk about some botches, some fucked up shit, but also some good stuff. Some good stuff been happening in the news lately. Really excited for this episode.
Yeah, there's tons of meat on the bone today. It's going to be a good one. Also joining us, formerly the patron saint of the Rock Block, now the wayward son of Wartrace, Mr. Jesse Baker. Jesse, how we living today?
Loving it, chilling. There's a beautiful day outside today. Always love talking about botches. Really stoked. This is going to be good. Yeah.
Always love just poo-pooing all over people. It's going to be a great time. I am super excited about it. Yeah, last week's episode was great. Got a lot of really good feedback. I've been enjoying the series thus far. Also, like, full disclosure today, like, I had completely forgotten what we were going to talk about because I got really loose in the last show. I had a really good time. I'll try to rein it back just a little bit, but I'm still going to have a good time. So, that being said, man, excited to get into it today. It's top 5 botches of all time. We have the Who Am I at the end, and we'll get to that. And we also have week 2 of Cut or Keep, right? Like, isn't that's what we're doing there? So I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited to get into my favorite aspect of the show. We're quick into these transitions today, but I'm ready. It's news. It's news time. What's going on in the news, Wex?
I mean, we got a lot of shit going on in the news. We'll go ahead and start off with the WWE shit. And one of the big things that's going on, you know, they're in Saudi Arabia this weekend, and there have been some like military threats, like attacks.
Yes.
And they are like on super high alert. And I mean, the show as of now is going to go on, but right now they're still like, you know, still on edge. Still that butthole still squeezing tight.
Well, no, they moved it.
They moved it.
Yeah, they're doing it in Orlando.
Oh, they're
doing the show at the Performance
When
Center.
did this happen?
I literally just looked like right before we got on, and I didn't see that at all.
Oh shit! So that's literally breaking news then, because I was literally just checking shit before we got on.
Unless I got worked, which is very.
I mean,
possible.
I literally heard nothing. I heard they're in Saudi Arabia, right? Like all the wrestlers are already there. They've flown over there.
They're all there now?
Saturday.
No, they're all there. That's what I've heard. Like, because a bunch of them have already posted videos of like, all right, I'm leaving, getting on the plane.
Yeah, I thought for sure that it was going to be in Orlando. It is not Orlando. I was incorrect. I thought for sure they were going to pull it. And I'm almost positive I saw something about it. Maybe it was just like a news and rumors type thing. Maybe they were thinking about doing it, but got the full okay. That's wild, dude. That's wild.
Yeah, it's as of now, it's still going to go on. There's just a live press conference tomorrow, so yeah. I'd be very spooked if I was over there. That's kind of scary.
This could be like one of those moments where pro wrestling is just kind of wrapped up in like the lexicon of what's happening in the world, which is kind of crazy.
They don't have a
great. We can go all the way back to WCW doing that North Korea show.
Yeah, but then there's also the last Saudi thing that happened with the plane and not.
Oh, the plane, yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Like,
forgot about that.
This is a recurring.
What if they just kill a lot of them?
Who knows?
That'll be a tragedy.
Do you think so? You think it'd be a tragedy?
Yeah. They killed a bunch of wrestlers? Yes.
Can you imagine?
I mean, but they're willingly going here. They're willingly going into this war zone. Like,
yeah, because remember, like Bryan Danielson, he was like, no, I'm not going over there. He never went to any of those shows.
Can you imagine being the Good Brothers and being on that trapped plane and then leaving the company for like 3.5 years or whatever it was? And then like one of the first big things you do is to go back, and now it's a war zone.
Like, that's insane.
The good old Good Brothers.
Hey, New Japan might have been. New Japan sounds a little bit sweeter now, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. I mean, okay. Speaking of, can we transition to that part?
Oh yes, the New Japan Noah and all that stuff.
Yes. So now that I mean,
for the first time, honestly, besides Jushin Liger, one other time they let someone wrestle for Noah. The first time WWE has worked with another company in a long time, and they're letting Shinsuke Nakamura face Great Muta in his retirement tour.
Just fucking
which
crazy.
Is amazing. Like I forgot,
but awesome.
They let somebody else work for Noah like 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember who it was, and they also had the Liger thing come over, but I just can't remember who it was. But
I think
Noah
it's going to lead to more Japan WWE. Like, I think the door is finally actually open for a New Japan WWE crossover, and I think that's likely to happen. I think it's very, very likely to happen.
A dream scenario would be that triple card WWE, AEW, New Japan. You know, we'd never see it happen, but I say that, but the way shit's been going in wrestling lately in the past, like, few years, you never know. We could get that fucking super card.
I wouldn't even say never.
I wouldn't say never. I could do without. I think 2 is enough. I think if you get WWE and New Japan, you got to think about how long that's going to be and how many different things have to happen. You involve any third company, I think it completely dilutes it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it'd be cool to have just one super show, not like right off the bat, just like a culmination type thing.
It would be cool, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I want WWE and AEW to ever work together ever, because I feel like if they do, it's gonna fail expectations.
Yeah,
it's like the idea of like heyday WCW, heyday WWF.
Loves this guy and that guy so much.
Yeah,
it'd be cool, but yeah, in theory, I see what you're going with, but like,
I could see another AWA Super Clash fucking disaster type thing happen where everyone's ego gets in the fucking way.
Yes,
and
oh yeah, it'll be pure egos because like, you know, like
Tony
this
Khan
guy's like, no, I'm not going to fucking
well.
lose to an AEW guy, or I'm not going to lose to a WWE guy.
Yeah,
there'll be all that shit going on.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I mean, honestly, at this point, man, like WWE is still winning. So it's, and they're like, it's not like I'm not going to say like AEW is not competition. Absolutely, they are competition. Like, there's no debate about that. They're bigger than, like, they're at least to a moderate early '90s WCW level. Like, they've already surpassed even though, like, well, the ratings say TNA would have gotten these in 2009. Like, yeah, but
but TV ratings aren't the fucking same as they used to be back in the day. We have streaming. We have all this shit. Like,
in the world of wrestling, there's never been another number 2 that met the WCW level.
Yes, there hasn't been.
For
like, TNA tried and they almost got there, but AEW literally was bigger than TNA as they started.
I think the only problem with that is that AEW has already had their quote unquote Hogan moment, and they had it with Punk, and I don't think they can repeat it.
No.
Nah, they're not going to do that bullshit no more. I feel like everything's going to get tight knit, and as
I don't think that's what he's saying. I think what he's saying is I think what he's saying, Jesse. I think what Jesse's saying is that they've peaked. Like, they're not going to get any bigger than they already have.
You're not going to have another monumental signing that blows the wrestling world or the general population out of the water to the same level that they already have.
I get what you're saying, but
it's a solid number 2 is what I'm saying.
Like you said, the closest second viable option. And honestly, I'm going to say this now. WWE is always going to be the top because they're like the Disney of pro wrestling. We already explained.
Yeah.
They're the Disney. AEW's the HBO. It's going to be that viable second option.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great money, but it's still not going to be in that stratosphere. And it's because AEW is for the hardcore wrestling fans.
Yes.
Yeah, WWE is for the hardcore wrestling fans too, but the casuals, like more casual.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
We watch both. All of us are going to watch both, but there's going to be that weird mark divide that you get of people who are going to like.
And I will say that, like, the wrestling on the AEW shows has not slowed down. The wrestling has been great.
The in-ring is always
but the booking, this has been their worst stint. I get that they've had a lot of. I'm sure from what I hear, I don't know. From what I hear, Tony Khan is a long-term planner. And all of everything changed with that CM Punk moment. Like, everything just got pulled out from under the rug. And so it's been rough. Like, this has been rough booking wise. Like, storytelling wise has not been very good. But, like, the wrestling is great. I do think he's going to balance out. I don't like the direction he's trying to go to balance it out. But I can see that he is trying to balance himself out, if that makes sense. I think that
I get what you're saying.
He needs more than just him, though. Like, he needs more people. He can't just keep. He's not. Even Vince had Pat, and you know what I mean. Like, and Bruce. Like,
now he's got Jarrett.
Well, that's the thing I was gonna say right there. This week's episode was very weird, but I think it worked kind of push it into a different direction. But JEFF JARRETT Jeff Jarrett It's now been hired as the like executive vice president of, or not executive, but he got hired for.
I thought he was just talent and all that like extra stuff.
Like a prominent backstage role, and he's gonna have some little on-screen shit with this little like feud here and there. But we know as long as Jeff Jarrett doesn't come and win your world title, he's good for your company.
Can you imagine that shit?
But I would not doubt him winning the TNT title, and I'm being completely honest right now.
For sure.
Oh no, he can win a mid-card title here or there. That's fine. But as long as Jeff Jarrett doesn't come and win your world title, he's good for your company. Like Jarrett. I think this is great for AEW. A lot of people might disagree, but as long as he doesn't have too much, only way being champion influence, basically, I think it's great.
I don't. My problem with the booking is that you're doing this. He's declaring war on AEW thing, and I don't know. I mean, unless they've got a really good, unless they have a new working relationship with Impact, and he can say like maybe he can use the TNA brand. And be like, we did it first. We were the first competition, whatever. And actually use TNA stuff that Impact allows them to use, like on TV. That's the only way that's going to work.
Which is feasible.
The only way that's going to work. And that's not a bad idea. But I feel like they're not going to, if they don't have that deal in place with Impact and he can't do that and he can't say TNA and he can't say Impact, it's not going to work.
Okay, he's the new director of business development. Okay. So I don't know exactly what that role entails, but I mean, I feel like he's
but is that shoot though? You see what I'm saying?
No, that's like legit. That's his like what his backstage role is hired for.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pro him being involved either way, to be honest. I mean, I think I agree. It would be the silliest fucking worst thing for him to win the world title. But to be honest with you, it's TV I would watch.
Yeah.
I mean, one way or the other.
Yeah, no. I don't know.
He's not going to win the world title, but he's definitely going to. I'm just saying he has a good mind for the wrestling business. He knows what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
It's going to be the return of Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah.
hey, Pac-Man will be a good return these days because he can actually get physical in the ring, but he's too high for all that right now.
Nobody
he's just
cares
chilling.
about Pac-Man Jones.
I mean, I keep up with Pac-Man as podcast shit these days, but I mean. He's chilling. He ain't trying to wrestle no more. He was doing that because he was trying to make money because he couldn't fucking play football and was suspended. We all know why.
Yeah.
He's explained why. But yeah, dude, I mean, this week's AEW episode, like you said, with the Jeff Jarrett debut was like a little bit weird. And I'm so ready for this final Ring of Honor pay-per-view to come because I'm ready for Ring of Honor to be separate from AEW. Not saying that what they're doing with the whole storyline with Chris Jericho and everything, like, it's fucking great, but I want that to be separate. I want that to be its own show. I don't want it to be on AEW.
No, I agree. I fully agree.
And the fact that they fucking had Colt Cabana come out was, I popped. I was like, fuck yeah, Colt fucking Cabana.
Now that's the newest fun dirt sheet thing is everybody's like, oh, it didn't go unnoticed by WWE, and now that's a clear sign that they might be able to get Punk back. I'm like, I don't think they want.
Dude, Triple H hates CM Punk, and CM Punk hates Triple H. Unless they can do like some gaudy amount of money just for it to turn sour in a few months, like they know.
But what will happen?
To AEW, a repeat of what happened to them. They're not going to do it again. If they do,
2025 or 2026. We may never even hear about it, but Paul will send him an offer, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'll give you $250,000 for like a 6-month run. You want to do that?" He's gonna say no, of course, but then he can go back and say, "Hey, I reached out to Punk. He didn't want to come in for the company at the value that we found him at." And see what I'm saying? Like he's that kind of guy too. I mean, Triple H is a smart dude.
He's the cerebral assassin.
Legitimately. And that's the thing too. Like people like the thing about the wrestling business is that like everybody thinks it's just like fun and games and like there's this brotherhood and this union between the boys, but they get mad when you actually treat it like a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, is it really political to do that? Or is it just smart business? Like
it's fucking smart business. Yes. It would be unintelligent not to make an attempt to reach out at some point in time.
Yeah. I'm sure he might even get an offer right away for close to a very low ball amount.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're definitely not going to use him full time. He's not going to do that schedule full time. If it would be a one-off
No way
thing.
in
It'd
hell.
be like he comes back at the Rumble and has a match at Mania. This is what it would be. If it worked out, he'd come back at Rumble, get eliminated by somebody in the upper mid-card or a actual main event guy, but that's not in the world title picture, like an AJ or whatever, and then you set up an actual WrestleMania mid-card match, honestly. Like you're not putting a WrestleMania main event with CM Punk. It's never going to happen.
And we know CM Punk, he's not coming back unless he gets that WrestleMania main event that he always wanted.
Well, that's not happening.
Exactly. So
absolutely not happening.
He can go ahead and stick to acting, do that other bullshit. I don't miss you. I'd rather watch Colt Cabana.
Me too.
I'd rather watch Young Rock. Like the guy that plays Young Rock. Like I feel like he does a great job. He's got a wrestling movie on Amazon, actually. You guys should check it out. I don't remember the name of it now. I should be more prepared, but it's an awesome movie. Check it out.
Plug.
Hell yeah. Besides, the Elite and Kenny Omega, obviously the little promos, they keep busting. They're coming back at some point.
Soon, real soon. Next pay-per-view.
And
Full Gear, right?
And one thing I got to fucking mention, which is still insane to me, this Friday, we're getting fucking Orange Cassidy versus Shibata for the All Atlantic Championship. And it's a match. I thought Shibata was done forever, but apparently he's going to be having he's requested this match, and he also requested to have a match with Bryan Danielson.
Wow.
And both of those would be bangers.
Yeah.
100%.
So, when did you ever think on a Friday night we're going to be getting Orange Cassidy versus Shibata for a championship?
I didn't. And that's an awesome match for wrestling fans.
Yeah, that's why AEW is for the the pure hardcore wrestling
no story.
fans, and that's cool.
No story.
No.
But
there's very little throughout the show.
Lately, the storylines have been,
low ball, bro. Low
ball. There have been some high points for certain ones, but overall hasn't been the best. But the in-ring has been fantastic, and as long as that in-ring can hook me in, which it usually does, which has barely been holding me on because All Elite Wrestling hasn't had the Elite, but everybody else has been holding it down. Rick Ross was fucking great, by the way.
Agreed.
Yeah, dude.
If he decides to do something as a wrestling manager, he'd be fucking fantastic.
I was like,
very
bro,
charismatic.
Just manage Swerve because that was really good. That was really good.
Started some feud with him versus Keith Lee. That'd be great,
dude. And especially with with Tony Khan money, pay Rick, give him a 6-month deal.
Yeah,
because with those kind of promos, if he can do it more than once, if he can do that on a regular basis,
hey,
he's the second best manager in wrestling.
There you go. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Which is great. Really I didn't expect it because, sometimes celebrities, movie stars, musicians come on there and, they lay an egg. It's a dud. It's not good.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate for whatever reason.
Sometimes you get Trina.
Yeah.
Trina, even though when it comes to her music, it's great, but her charisma did not translate on camera. But Rick Ross, he held it. Hey, he held it down for fucking Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trina, she tried to hold it down for, Miami, but Rick Ross held it down. Even though I like Trick Daddy and the whole slip and slide thing better than Rick Ross music, but I'll say that Rick Ross definitely translated better on a wrestling screen.
Definitely, for sure. That dude's got, to be honest, when was the last time he had a hit, like a real hit? It's been a couple years, right?
It's been a while.
It's been a little minute. He's had some mixtape stuff, but it's for mainstream hits. I ain't heard nothing in a little bit.
You could probably make more money. Go on tour here.
Yeah.
They might even be able to book you.
That's the other thing. He could just do performances in whatever town he's in on fucking tour.
Or just map out a tour.
Yeah.
Dude, genius.
I love it. What else we got, man? What else we got?
News-wise, that's really as very deep unless you guys got anything that I forgot to mention. That was the main shit right there.
These are just Twitter rumors. But you all know that I'm a Kip Sabian fanboy. Rumor has it that Kip Sabian has asked for his release because they have completely fumbled his entire return.
Who the fuck can blame him? They fumbled him from day one. Let's be real.
It's so dumb
and stuff. Come on, man.
He's got to just have a bad reputation or something. I can't. Maybe he just really doesn't. Maybe a lot of the locker room just doesn't like him. That's the only thing I can think of.
He's not the only person. Good. He's not the only person they've done that to, though. Look at Miro. that whole thing there, I can't seem to find an excuse for that. Like,
well, I know Miro did go disappear for a while to film a TV show or like a movie or some shit.
But he's been very vocal about how he's not happy.
Yeah. And one thing I will say, I thought the House of Black was basically dead in AEW, but they basically had like a little resurrection promo on this week's Dynamite, and I'd love to see them fully come back. Like, I love all three of those dudes.
I think that
I think that the entrance of the trio titles kind of
exactly
impacts it. Like it messes up the impact of a 3-person. Well, I know 4-person if you count Julia Hart, but come on, that was a misfire. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But like, it's just, you get a guy like Buddy Matthews that was nondescript. Like the way that he came in was just nondescript. And Brody Lee or Brody King, my bad, R.I.P. Lee, but Brody King, there's a really good point made on Jim Cornette's podcast, and I hate to say that, even though I am somewhat of a fan of Corny, but Brody King would be a different story if we weren't in the era where being like the large, tattooed, plug-eared, brute guy wasn't so fucking common. Yeah. And it really is. I mean, it's very indie-rific at this point because every fucking indie has at least a couple guys like that, even though he's far more skilled, in my opinion, than most, if not any of those guys.
Yeah.
But it does lessen his impact and therefore lessens the impact of the entire group. I'm a big fan of Malachi continuing with the superstitious stuff. I don't know if him being in a group is what anybody wants to see, though.
Yeah, I think that I think, you know what? I think you nailed it, Jesse. I think that's what's been like. I like Malachi Black, but his whole thing is being mysterious and solo.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the Undertaker. Like, the Undertaker could do the ministry and could do that thing and could make it work. That's not really his thing. Like, I think he should be a lone wolf. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me for him to have a group with him. And also, too, because they're not very, like, the only way it would work is if they were overtly, like, submissive and, like, really, like, culty to him. Like, just, you know, cowering almost to him. Like, that would be the only way that would really work. The fact that they're, like, almost all on even playing ground, but he's the leader, but not, like, that's the main reason why the Judgment Day doesn't work. Like, they shouldn't all be handing the mic around and doing promos and shit like that. I know I'm on a different tangent, and I'm not talking about House of Black anymore, but, like, that's honestly why that thing didn't work. That's why it was good with Edge, because it was clearly just Edge. Like, now it's like, is Rhea the leader? Because they say that it's Finn, but it seems like she gets the most mic time, and she, like, seems like she's actually the leader here. Like,
she rules everybody.
Yeah, she does. Yes, she absolutely does.
I think Priest sounds the best on the mic. Like, out of all 4 of them doing promos, his delivery, his intimidation factor, everything about it, I think, is far superior.
I'm loving him back at the Judgment Day because Prince's version of Damian Priest wasn't working.
No.
Oh, no. Fuck no. Not at all. That was fucking horrible.
Not at all, man. All right, so we wrapped up on the news here. That's it.
That's it. I think it was about time to get in that meat and taters part, you know?
Let's get in the meat and taters part. We're talking about the top 5 biggest botches. And, guys, there's been some doozies here. I will be shocked, honestly, if we have the same stuff on this.
I have so much random shit because botches are so wild. So
that's what I mean.
Thought about the ones that come into my head when I think of botches.
And there was no parameters like, well, they're botches, but they have to be botches like this. There was none of that. It was just like top 5 botches, period, of all time. What do you got? So this is going to be fun. Wex, you seem very prepared. You're eyeballing your notes. I'm going to throw it to you first. Give me your number 5 botch of all time.
All right, so my number 5 botch. We're going to go low on the totem pole, but it's still a classic one, and that's Vince McMahon tearing both of his quads, getting into the ring for the Royal Rumble when John Cena and Batista both went out at the same time. And it was not – clearly he didn't mean to tear both of his quads, but it's so fucking funny. He's just sitting down in the fucking corner, but, like, still barking. Like, or it's fucking great. It's one of the best quad tears of all time, you know. No shade to Kevin Nash. But Vince tearing both at the same time, man, that's clearly one of the biggest botches ever. It went low on my list just because it really didn't involve wrestling or a promo or anything. It just kind of fucking happened, but it was still hilarious.
I literally just sold how botches were crazy and like we're not going to have the same list. And I swear to God, my number 5 is Cena and Batista at the Rumble when Vince swapped the spots. That's exactly in the exact same spot. Like, dude, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, for the exact, like, it was like you wrote the same notes as me. Like, it was like, it's low on my list because it's not really an in-ring wrestling botch, but like, it's the notoriety and like, dude, it's the same. I wrote the same shit. Like, yes, absolutely. I'm glad hopefully we knocked it out early, and that's number 5. And that's it. But we'll see. Jesse, where you at for number 5, man?
My number 5 is not a wrestling botch. It's a botch of a moment. And
Okay.
it is WrestleMania 30, Hulk Hogan, and the Silver Dome comment.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's good. I like that. That's fair. Solid botch.
Intro.
Solid
The
botch.
intro.
I thought you were going to say Hulk Hogan and Papa Shango, but then you said the Silver Dome, and I was like, all right.
The intro to the 30th WrestleMania of all time. And like the one thing you're doing is a promo that's this monumental Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rock, Hogan triad in the ring. And it took him a decent beat to get back to it, recognize it, and save it. And I just thought, I watched it again the other day, and it's one of my favorite things that happened just because it's so funny, but it is a huge fucking botch.
Oh yeah, no, that's a solid one. I learned a interesting fact about I know you were talking about Papa Shango and the Undertaker. Did you know that between 93 and 98, in that 5-year period, no one wrestled the Undertaker more than Kama? It was because he had the Papa Shango run and then Kama, even more than Mick Foley. No one wrestled him more in that 5-year span than those two guys. And that's why they're like also like thick as thieves. You know, they're like really good friends. So nice little tidbit there. Wex, number 4, where we at?
Okay, coming up at number 4 for me, it only made it low on the list because it's more of an obscure thing. But if you ever watched, internet wrestling, Botchamania and everything,
Yeah.
I'm talking about a wrestler who's still active today, going by Zenshi. He's wrestled MLW recently, but the double moonsault land right on his fucking dome. I'm sure you know guys exactly what I'm talking about. The double moonsault straight to the fucking head. One of the gnarliest like internet viral botches you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it was all over Botchamania. It was everywhere. And he got bad like a neck injury from it. And he still wrestles to this day. Like MLW recently. Like he still wrestles.
Ugh.
Jesus.
And
After that's what you're known for, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, and that sticks in my head. Like when I think of botches, like I always think, like, remember that guy that fucking landed on his fucking head with the double moonsault? Like
That like pile drove
just
himself?
because it was an indie thing, I didn't rank it really high. But like just like the Zandig thing last week, like if you remember, if you are on the internet, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. So yeah. That Janela Zandig roof bump, everyone knows it. Like if you just, even if you're not a hardcore wrestling fan, you just like kind of like wrestling, and some of that will show up in your social media. You've seen both of those bumps at this point. Yeah.
And they're both just fucking devastating.
Gnarly, super gnarly. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Let's keep it rolling here. My number 4 is a little bit more high profile. It's WrestleMania 19. It's Brock Lesnar botching the shooting star at Mania.
Oh shit!
That's number 4 on my list, dude. Just the way it was all handled too, because if you like, I watched it live, and I thought he was dead. Like I was like, he's dead. And then like you can see Kurt like kick out because he's like, fuck, that was the finish. And then you can just see him like laying. They're both like laying there, and Brock's not saying anything. And you can just see like spit, like Kurt's yelling, like there's lots coming out of his mouth, and he's like, like I guess he's just calling shit. Like I don't know what he was saying. I'm like, my adrenaline's pumping, and he goes to pick him up, and he doesn't quite get up, and then all of a sudden he explodes up and hits an F5, and that's the win. So it was almost like it was weird because it was like, was that kind of a plan? Like, and he just messed up the spot, or like. Did Kurt call the F5 and then he couldn't get up? But it was just real. If you watch the clip back, it's really explosive the way he's like literally being like almost pulled up by his head, and he's like almost like dead weighted, like getting pulled up, and then just hops up immediately, hits the F5 and pins him. And then he goes through this weird stumbly celebration where he's like clearly knocked out, like.
It's all instinct, maybe. Just
yeah, and then obviously we've all seen like the backstage footage too. Like he's not all there, and he looks just like a gorilla that they're trying to like wrangle in a zoo because he's not even being like Like, he's so big and powerful, but he's not conscious, really, like crazy moment.
All of that. Bruce Pritchard tells an amazing story about that instance and then what happens afterward. Because, they always have the big WrestleMania parties after the event. And they both insisted on going. And Bruce is like, no. Like, neither one of you can go to this fucking party right now. Like, one of you just almost died and the other one already kind of has a broken neck. Like, this is not okay. And, of course, they both, in order to big dick each other, went to the party.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is crazy. It's a crazy botch. It's a monumental moment. Number 4, though, still number 4 on my list. Didn't make it into the medals yet, but we'll get there. Jesse, where you at, man?
My number 4 is WWE Bad Blood 2003. Scott Steiner versus Test.
Ooh.
And when Test goes to grab Stacy Keibler and Scott tries to jump off the apron at him and just completely shortens the jump. And it's hard
monumental.
It's hard not to laugh at it, even though it's
monumental. It's the way in which he does it too. It's like okay, shit. even if they had been in the right spot, what are you doing? Like why is your body like that? But you know what I mean? Like, it's just comedic. It's only funny.
Yeah, none of it quite made sense, but it is. I mean, it's hilarious to read. I watched it like 4 times today when I was making the list. I mean, it's fucking great. So number 4 goes to Big Papa Pump, Mr. Scott Steiner.
I love it. There's no need to explain. It's a more deep cut. It's even for like a main promotion. That's what I'm. Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a deep cut for a main promotion, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. I knew exactly what you were talking about. It's like a dead fish that just it's really fucking hilarious. Wex, we're getting in the medals now, baby. Bronze. Show me your bronze. Your number 3 spot, Wex.
Okay, my number 3 spot coming in here is coming from your boy, Papa H.
Nope.
And this botch is a very old one going to back when he was old Jean-Paul Levesque. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's the infamous pedigree botch that he just fucking spikes dude straight on his dome. That's not his fault at all.
That's 1,000% the guy taking the bump.
But It's still a botch. Regardless of who fucked up, it's one of the most ridiculous, outrageous botches. And that dude later sued WWE for like neck trauma and shit. But it was just miscommunication, and he thought he was going for a different move, and didn't. It was the pedigree. It was before its time. He wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. He thought it was like a double pile driver. Yeah.
You guys can Google this Triple H pedigree botch from when he was Jean-Paul Levesque, and he basically gives this dude like a tiger driver straight to his dome.
Yeah, like a 45-degree angle.
And it always sticks out in my head.
Yeah, imagine like a 45-degree angle instead of a 90-degree angle, like pedigree. That's really what it is.
It's bad. Go
really
look it up.
It's rough. That's a good one though. That's a good one. It's definitely. I don't even remember. Do you know what that guy's name was? Did you look that up?
Fuck. I saw Reddit earlier, but it doesn't matter. He never did anything.
Yeah, he never did anything. But yeah, it was 1,000% on that guy though. Like, I mean, he may have. I think the only way they probably won the lawsuit was probably like Paul being like, dude, I told him it was a face bump. These are what face bumps look like. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. What else we got here? Okay, let's do. Okay, so my number 3 is it's a legendary WCW. It could arguably be one of the worst matches of all time. It's the Chamber of Horrors match with Abdullah the Butcher
Dungeon of Doom,
and the switch that like is clearly on TV that keeps going up and down and up and down, and like Mick's trying to hold it up, and then when the actual
Abdullah the Butcher,
yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Abdullah the Butcher. Yeah, and it doesn't like actually happen ever, and he just starts shaking and like, but nothing actually happens. Like, there's no like effect or like anything. It's terrible. Like, arguably, and that was a pay-per-view. Like, it was the early days pay-per-view.
The opening match of a Halloween.
Opening match on a pay-per-view. Yeah, crazy.
Damn,
crazy
I'd
stuff.
be pissed.
Not good. The Chamber of Horrors easily had to make it in my bronze. Should have been higher, but damn, I got some goodies left for silver and metal and gold. So I'm excited to see what Jesse's number 3 is. What's your bronze medal here?
My number 3 is yet another semi-obscure one, sort of, I guess. It's an episode of WCW Thunder on April 22nd of 1998. It involves yet another Steiner brother, and it's Rick Steiner and Buff Bagwell Steiner comes off the ropes, the reverse bulldog, and when Buff lands, he breaks his fucking neck. And you can tell because they always say that the easiest way to tell that somebody's got a spinal injury is if you try and roll them over and they can't uncross their legs. And it was very evident the moment that it happened, like, he's fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a really scary, like, unexpected moment because it's not even a big show. It's goddamn Thursday TV. Like, it's not even, you know what I mean? Like, plus it's, at that point in time, I don't think a lot of people cared about Rick Steiner, and I know nobody really cared about Buff Bagwell. And so it's just kind of a throwaway match. And then you see that and you're like, oh my God. And again, once again, is he dead? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was pretty scary. Apparently Buff suffered like some semi-paralysis from parts of this, but it's still to this day one of the most alarming things to actually like watch happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good one. I don't think I've ever even actually seen that. Like, I know that it happened. I know that he like broke his neck. I remember that whole gimmick, and he came back. And then like Judy was a big part of like the comeback and all that. I remember that.
It's definitely worth a Google.
Yeah, definitely worth a Google. Solid spot. Are we getting into the silvers now? Wex, is that where we're at?
Silver.
All right, silver, baby. Give me your silver medal.
And it was hard for me to choose my silver and my gold between these two because they're both some of my favorites. But I'm gonna go ahead and go silver medal right now. And this is a promo, one of the most infamous promos of all time, one of the biggest botches, and it's Harlem Heat.
I knew where that was going.
When he says, we want, after we beat Lex Luger and the giant sucker Hulk Hogan, we want the gold. We coming for you. And he was supposed to say sucker, and he slipped the M word out.
He did not say sucker.
Live on TV, on pay-per-view, and as he said it, he realized what he said. You could see the facial expression. Sister Sherry was over here like laughing at him, but also comforting him. But the thing is, Stevie Ray just picked up with the promo right with Mean Gene, like nothing ever happened. They smoothly went through it, but that literally is one of the greatest, funniest botches of all time. Because even Booker T talks about it, and he was just like, I was just in the moment and slipped up. Like, yeah. There's nothing I can say. And Hulk Hogan at the time apparently thought it was hilarious. He laughed about it.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. That is not surprising.
But everyone thought it was fucking funny, but at the time, Booker T, like in his mind, was like, fuck, I'm fired. Like I'm fucked. But
yeah.
It's such a funny moment, such a great moment. Everybody's seen it before. It's literally one of the all-time classics. It was very hard for me to choose that for my number one, but my number one is one person with kind of like we'll get to it, but goddamn. Number two, Booker T with the classic slip-up promo, saves it, but it's, dude, you guys know. Everybody listening to this fucking shit knows.
Oh yeah.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's an iconic promo. The sad part is that like I feel like he was so upset because he thought he was going to get fired. The sad part is that like the upper management was probably like, no, you can say it again. It's fine. It's funny. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah. Probably
He's like, I'm trying to be professional here, guys, and I fucked up.
What was that? Like 95, 96?
I feel like it was like more like 97.
That was like 96 or 97 for sure.
Could it have been? No, it had to have been before that, right?
No, it might have been. When did NWO start?
96.
Were they NWO at that point? Because weren't they coming to the tag?
After the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that was NWO time.
Oh, okay. See, I thought this was like they were heels.
This is after the Giant got kicked out of the NWO briefly, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that makes sense. My next one here is my actually only indie one, but the wrestler that I happen to is not indie at all. My number two botch of all time is when Sean Waltman ripped his ball sack doing the Bronco Buster in a VFW hall.
Oh, my God.
Like, how many times has he done the Bronco Buster? And he was sober by this time, right? Or was this before he got sober?
I think this might have been at the tail end of his days it being an active addiction. I'm not sure he was completely clean yet. I know he was better off than he had been before that. But
right.
It was
no doubt about that. But I mean, it's an iconic moment. I feel like I don't remember seeing like long videos. So I want to say like Vine was a thing when this happened. And I feel like I saw like vines of it where it's like 9 seconds and then like you see pictures. And I remember hearing like the Curb the Enthusiasm music over it. And it's like he does the thing, and you see his face, and then he's like laying, and there's just still pictures of like blood where his cock is essentially.
I've heard him talk about it.
And it's like that. I just remember that vividly, and just seeing like blood in his X-Pac pants, and I was like, "Oh, bro, that's rough." And then he talks about it all the time, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, like, it was easily the worst, like the worst." And he's like, "It's not." When he talks about it, it's not funny, you know. And it's like, but it's funny though. Like,
yeah, it's still funny.
Only in wrestling, bro.
Only in wrestling will you have ball sacks ripped when a guy is trying to jam his crotch on another man's chest to gain the offensive advantage. It's a good time. I love wrestling. Jesse, sorry. You're number 2. Where are you at?
My silver medal is a much less funny one. It led to a whole lot of other tragic shit after the fact, but it's, again, super intense to watch and was very formative on a couple different careers. That's going to be ECW Living Dangerously 2000 with New Jack and Vicious Vic Grimes.
Oh.
Where they take the bump falling off of it is scaffold, but it's not the scaffold match that we all know about, but they're supposed to fall. They planned to do it. Vic tried to chicken out last second, and New Jack is like, "We're going, motherfucker, we're going." And they do it, and Vic overshot it, lands on New Jack's head, and New Jack suffered, obviously, permanent blindness in one eye and severe brain damage as a result. So, again, not funny for this one at all.
Yeah.
Just a very intense, like, here's what goes wrong when you go a little bit too crazy with a bump, and the minute that a guy like Vic Grimes decides he's going to back out at the last second, but the guy that he's wrestling at the time ain't fucking backing down.
Did he hit him with the taser and then make him do it? Is that the one?
That was the second time.
Second time. Oh, you're talking about the first time. Oh, the first time is gnarly.
First time's real. And then as a receipt in XPW is when New Jack intentionally threw Vic Grimes off the scaffold and tried to kill him.
Like he literally brought a taser and just first 2 minutes of the match, you could see it happen.
Yeah.
They throw two working punches. New Jack reaches into his pocket, pulls out a taser, and just tases him several times. And you can see him just like, I mean, when he throws his body off, like he is twitching, like he's not in control.
Dude, Jack's quote on Dark Side of the Ring is Vic says, "Jack, I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs." And he's like, "Good motherfucker, you ain't going to need him," and then throws him off the top.
Dude, rest in peace, New Jack.
Both of those are gnarly, but the second one was intentional. The first one was not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Both are gnarly. New Jack is one of a kind, man. One of a kind. Wex, your number 1 botch of all time. Where are you at with it?
Since I'm already laughing about this shit, it was really hard to choose because this person is the human embodiment of a botch. So I kind of had like a first place tie for 2 of their most famous botches.
Okay.
And that's your boy Sid Vicious. Sid Justice, Psycho Sid.
God damn it.
And it's a combination tie between the leg break and let me redo this. We're live, pal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those 2 things, when I think of botches, come to my mind because literally Sid Vicious is the fucking human embodiment of the botch. He's the epitome of the botch. His whole career was a botch. That's probably why he's not in the Hall of Fame, even though he was a multi-time world champion. It's just when you think of Sid, you think of softball and breaking your leg.
Softball and breaking your leg.
There you go.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one. My number 1 is a little more sad. I think it's like the most notable botch of all time. I think it's the one that like kind of put WWE. Okay, I will say this about this botch. I think that it could have only happened at this time without literally ending the company. I think if this had even happened now, the lawsuits would be so tremendous that like could shut down the company, and that's the Darren Drozdoff bump, the D'Lo power bomb on Raw. He's the only like, I mean, even when we talk about like, it's like even like in the NFL, like Ryan Shazier, like he's walking now, like he's still doing things, and like he can play with his kids. Like we'll never ever play in the NFL again, but I mean that's sad. But he's a functioning human being. He can move and walk and talk and jog and like, you know, have a semi-normal life. Darren Drozdoff is to this day in a wheelchair, in a powered wheelchair. And like, it's just kind of crazy how it happened because the dude had a lot of upside. I mean, if we're being completely honest, he probably would have never been more than like a Val Venus. You know what I'm saying? He may have won a European or Intercontinental or hardcore title at some point, and by now he'd be selling insurance or being a police officer in Texas or something like that. But still, I mean, the dude, he was 22 years old and just crushed his neck. It happened on live TV on a Raw. You can't watch it now on Peacock, but you could when it was on TV.
Oh, yeah. I have it on that's someplace. That's back when I used to tape every week.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I feel like that botch alone was the massive, like, they'd already started kind of doing, like, the don't try this at home thing, but it really, okay, so originally it was like the Attitude videos where it was like, I've had 7 staples, 86 stitches, and 5 broken bones. I was an NCAA national champion. And it goes to like, you don't think we're real wrestlers or we're real athletes? Like, try lacing my boots. And it had the Attitude thing, It wasn't really a don't try this at home. It was just kind of saying like, hey, we're not just phonies. Like, we're real athletes. It was a very cool campaign. After Darren Drozdoff, that exact same aesthetic happened, but it was don't try this at home at the end. The exact same promo, but it, like, the whole thing had a totally different tone. It wasn't trying to say like, hey, we're super serious. After that shit happens on live TV, people know you're super serious. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like don't try this at home. So
even though this is later, the promo you're talking about, they used the same one with Rey Mysterio talking about his knees for so many years. They would
Kurt
keep
Angle
that
breaking
one
his neck
clip
and all
in
that.
there.
Yeah. That was in like 2003, 2004. That was with
And
Kurt
they
Angle.
ran it for
Edge
years.
was in that one too. I know exactly which one you're talking about, but you're totally right. But yeah, man, number one, I feel like it's the most notable botch in history. Like, because it happened on such a high level at the height of the Attitude Era. We're talking about mid 1998. Like, none of pro wrestling gets hotter. Between WCW and WWF, nothing on earth was hotter in entertainment than pro wrestling.
Don't want to get too dark, but the way you explained it, I thought you were going Owen Hart, but
I did too.
That's totally where I thought
much.
you were going. I was like, yep, Owen Hart.
I mean, maybe you guys did, but I feel like that was too far for me. But Darren Drozdoff's not. I mean, it's not a great story,
Nope.
So
not at all.
I had to touch on the dark side a little bit, just a little touch. Jesse, where are you at number one?
Well, I had a tie, and Wes took one, so I'm going to go with the other one. Originally, the very first one that I thought of, admittedly, was Sid breaking his fucking leg. And that's just it's such a fucking hard thing to watch and totally sucks. The other one that I had it tied with, though, does involve Owen Hart. It's SummerSlam 1997.
Stone Cold. My honorable mention.
And one of the biggest reasons that also occurred to me for my number one is because it did, not at the time, but it did directly relate to the shortened career of Stone Cold Steve Austin being at the top of the game. I mean, I personally feel like his career would have lasted a lot longer had that not occurred. And because if you really think about it, Stone Cold's run at the top was not very long, not comparatively.
And the fact that he also broke Masahiro Chono's neck in Japan doing that exact same thing and told Owen Hart not to do it, and he still did.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know if he was ribbing him or not because he was just such a jokester.
Now, all very unfortunate, but my number one, other than Sid, has to go to Stone Cold's broken neck.
That is a great number one. I really like that one.
Another monumental moment. Them botches, man. It's tough stuff.
Like I said, that was my honorable mention. That's like one right there is one of the biggest ones. And then the other thing that was on my honorable mention was Jake the Snake drunk at like the Superstars of Wrestling event or whatever. Drunk with the snake and couldn't even stand up. And
that's a huge
that's a Botchamania classic right there.
My other honorable mention is also a super sad one, and it had to go to Hayabusa attempting the moonsault that would end up not only ending his career, but ending his life.
Yeah.
And, that's much more indie-rific than any of the rest of these, but that's a sad one too.
Yeah. I don't have any honorable mentions for this one. I mean, honestly, like, I gotta be honest though. I totally expected Wex to get super dark and be like, when Benoit like ended up dead with his wife and kid dead.
Of course, because you see my fantasy football name, Chris Benoit 07.
I totally thought it was coming. I'm glad we didn't go
dark
there.
With my fantasy football humor for my team name, and I'm not going to go that dark on the podcast. Okay,
that's true. My fantasy football team name is Deshaun's Little Towel, which is
And I'm
Pretty rough.
Benoit 07 with a picture of Benoit putting a child in the crippler crossface.
I thought you just said you weren't going that dark on the podcast.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, one
It's so
more
funny.
honorable mention is just Hulk Hogan cutting a live promo ever. There's many ones we can mention, like the one he had
Or the
against
Ultimate
Vince
Warrior.
on SmackDown, or where he had to get
Steiner.
a couple of good gay guys. If you remember that one, that's a classic. He just he's never been good live on the mic. Period.
No, he's never been good live on the mic. I won't say that. He had a couple of good promos in WCW live, like a couple pretty good ones in the ring.
2 out of 69.
I wouldn't say 2. I'd say a few more than that. But I see what you're saying.
4.
Sometimes we shit on the old guy. And listen, Terry Bollea deserves all the shit. Like, no one's defending that person in this podcast. At the same time, sometimes when that person we find out is shit, we like try to negate all the things that they did well. And it's like, you can't do that. Like, like that dude, that dude was legendary for 2 decades, two full decades. One is the biggest baby face of all time. And the second was arguably the second biggest villain of the 90s. Like, outside of
And in
Vince,
his
he's
second
the
run,
second
he was
biggest.
smart. He was smart enough where he literally didn't even have to do anything. He didn't have to really wrestle.
So exactly. Listen, not any of our cup of teas, not a cup of tea for the human race, a terrible person, but wrestling would not be here without him. Would not be here without him. That being said,
And
let's
he would
talk
not
about,
be here without Macho Man Randy Savage, is all I'm saying.
1,000%.
All I'm saying.
Why do you got to bring up the Macho Man? Why got to bring up
Because
the Macho
Hogan
Man?
needs to be a man. That's why.
Oh, be a man.
Be a
Hulk.
man.
Be a man, Hulk. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so this Who Am I? I to be honest with you, I got really loose last episode. I don't really remember what we said we were going to do for the Who Am I. I don't even know if we did say.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is masked wrestlers. So there are either luchadors or just American wrestlers, or there's a Japanese wrestlers. There's a vast variety of masked wrestlers that we can pick from here. But I'm going to go first here, if you'll allow me. So the parameters for me were they wore a mask for the majority of their career and are known mostly from that mask. I guess that would be the only parameter, if that makes sense with everybody here.
That is not what I did, but
Okay, so they only wore masks for a little while?
it's also not obscure though. So
Okay. All right. Well, my wrestler here is he's a AAA World Tag Team Champion. He is a ICW, like the Insane Clown Posse's thing. They're a one-time heavyweight champion. And he is the Mid-South Southern champion at one time. Who am I?
do you mean JCW, right?
Yeah, JCW,
Yes,
Juggalo
JCW,
Championship
Yeah,
Wrestling.
Yes. One time.
Do I wrestle in Southern California?
No.
Okay.
Do I wrestle currently?
No.
Was I big in the 90s?
No.
Okay. Do I still currently wear a mask?
No longer currently wrestle. We can keep going with the questions, though. You guys are, I feel like we got to get rid of
Did
the
I
three
wrestle
questions.
for TNA?
Yes.
Am I Shark Boy?
No.
Do I work backstage for a company?
Yes.
Am I Abyss?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Okay. That was a good one.
Well done. Yeah, all right. So from now on, let's just get the questions until somebody gets it right. I feel like that's way more fun. Let's just do that. All right,
All
Wex,
right,
give it to me. Who do you got?
Okay, let's go. I have wrestled for every major promotion pretty much everywhere except for AEW.
Okay.
I have only ever wrestled one match with WWE.
Oh yeah. Am I Jushin Thunder Liger?
You are. Damn it! I should have made it harder.
I figured that was where that was going anyway. But
All right, Jesse, save the segment. What do you got?
all right, my masked debut. This motherfucker. My masked debut was at Survivor Series 1988.
The Patriot.
No. 1988. I lost my mask in 1991 against El Canek until 1998. And I hold dual citizenship in the U.S. and Canada. Who am I?
The Masked Superstar.
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
No.
Number 2.
Did I wrestle in the WWF
Yes.
with a mask?
Yes. Once again, dual citizenship in the U.S. and Canada. Debuted in the WWF in Survivor Series 1988 under my mask. Lost my mask in Mexico in 1991 against El Canek. Until
Mil Mascaris?
No.
Was I ever a WWF champion, world champion?
Not world champion, no.
Was I ever a WWE world champion?
Nope.
Did I ever wrestle for ECW?
No.
Did I wrestle
Not
for
even
WCW?
Eastern Championship Wrestling?
Very briefly for WCW, yes.
Okay.
But not under a mask.
Hmm.
I don't know. This is fucking stumping me. God damn.
In WWF, I was an Intercontinental Champion, a Tag Team Champion, and a European Champion.
Am I Owen Hart?
You're a Blue Blazer, yes.
Yeah.
God
yeah.
damn it. There we go. Holy shit.
You guys like that one?
I got the Titans version of that too. Don't worry.
It's a goodie. I actually got this in Mexico though.
Yeah, my
On
brother bought me
honeymoon.
one in Mexico. That's why I got it.
It's well done.
I didn't bring my masks into the podcast room, unfortunately. But
Damn
Well, I
it,
wore
Jeff.
this on Halloween, so it's right here on hand.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that you wrestling with Carl in your
Well, that wasn't Carl. That was Bella.
Bella. Yeah, sorry.
Carl's too old to wrestle. He doesn't really do much wrestling anymore.
that's our next two Am I's. Who's everyone's dogs?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good time.
Well, tomorrow's gonna be a fucking good time.
All right. So we got to do cut or keep, right?
Gotta
Yep.
keep.
Cut or keep. So let's do since we're on the topic of masks, talk about masked wrestlers here. All right.
Okay.
Cut or keep. What is it? Serpentico?
Serpentico
Yeah.
It's a cut for me.
or just cut or keep Serpentico.
Just cut or
Yeah.
keep.
Cut.
Yeah.
Cut Serpentico.
Cut. Yeah. So I'm cutting him too.
All right.
Cut or keep Ray Phoenix.
Keep.
Keep.
100%. 100%
Okay.
keep.
Okay. Cut or keep Rey Mysterio today at this point.
Cutting.
Keeping him for the prestige.
I'm cutting him too. Luchasaurus.
Cut.
Keep. He's unique. There's not very many large luchadors out there. And he can do the lucha shit.
I'll keep Luchasaurus. Oh man. God. I don't know that many masked wrestlers. This is a
Here,
terrible
I'll
idea.
go. Cut or keep Bandito or Bandito.
I'll keep Bandito.
Okay.
I'm not willing to give him a spot. Cutting him.
Okay. Cut or keep Black Taurus.
Cut.
Cut. Wes, are you keeping Bandito?
Oh, I'm keeping Bandito and Black Taurus. He's good, but I'm gonna go for the cut on that one. All right. Cut or keep Laredo Kid.
It's a cut for me, I think.
I don't know. I think Laredo Kid may be a keeper.
I'm keeping him. I would actually keep Laredo over Bandito at this point.
Okay, cut or keep Dragon Lee.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a keep for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say keep for him.
I'll keep him too.
All right, that's a triple keep.
Okay, one final one. We're gonna go New Japan. Cut or keep El Desperado.
Cut.
Yeah, cut for a solo. But if he's with the whole team, I bring the whole team, of course. But
well, cool.
That's fair.
We got some rosters shaping up here. Again, we get to visit them towards the last episode.
And then let's go ahead and get one last cut or keep. The GOAT, Pentagon, cut or keep.
No one's saying cut.
Yeah, everyone's keeping fucking Penta. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I love me some Penta. Shout out Pentagon.
All right, that's a good one. I'll keep Penta. Okay, so next week, boys, we got to find another list here. I got to tell you, boys, I'm running empty. I'm running empty with these ideas.
I got an idea for a list.
Okay, what do we got? Top 5 next week. What are we doing?
Top 5 worst or best gear of all time.
But you got to pick one of the two.
Yeah,
Let's do the worst. Because that's always more fun. The top 5 worst wrestling gear of all time, like your attire, wrestling attire.
Love it.
Oh.
I love that. Top 5 worst gear of all time next week.
Ooh, I'm already thinking of some fucking horrible ones.
Oh yeah,
we all are.
Delicious ones. I got some really good ones that I want to bring up here. Yeah, they're going to be good. I'm really excited about that. Well done, Wex. Well done. Well, boys, it's been real. I got to take the mask off, man. I don't know how people wrestle in those things. Jesus Christ.
I used to do whole fucking shows rapping in the mask like this, so I'm used to wearing it.
I hate it. It's terrible. That's terrible. I guess I'm too much of a baby face. What can I say? Yeah, so next week, man, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do the top 5
worst gear.
Worst gear.
Wex, you got to stop shaking the fucking antlers on that thing. It's too much.
It's a bootleg Liger mask. He doesn't have this many antlers on his real mask, but this one's fun.
Oh, we're doing the top 5 worst gear of all time next week. It's gonna be really fun. I'm excited about it. I would also like to let's do a cut or keep of AEW women next week.
Women? Oh, AEW women. That's a good
AEW women next week. Cut or keep. Just cut or keep. And then the who am I? Let's think. Who am I?
What about
mid-card title edition? So let's narrow it down.
Let's go ahead and narrow it down to specifically the United States Championship. Since Seth Rollins, our boy, is the current holder, let's do the who am I United States Champion.
Okay.
From all across the lineage, from now all the way to NWA.
Yeah. Who am I United States Championship division? That's going to be fun. I'm super excited about it. The show's been great. It's been a good one. It's been nice and tidy, nice and well kept. I'm excited about it. Next week, I mean, dude, worst gear. I love shitting on things. That's going to be really fun. Man, you can always find the show at KayfabeCom on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at KayfabeCom Pod on TikTok, Kayfabe Comparisons on YouTube. And honestly, man, I think that I'm going to start uploading the full video on YouTube. Like the whole thing. Like just if you want to hear from the time we start recording to the time we end, that's what's going to be on YouTube. So if you enjoy the content, go check us out there. Hit subscribe. Let us know what you like. Give us your ideas for your top 5s. We have months and months and months to come before the end of Kayfabe Comparisons Season 5. So, yeah, man. I mean, I'm super excited. You can always find your boy, Mr. Knowitall, Daniel Don Schafer, at Daniel Daybreak everywhere. Literally everywhere. If you want to send me some money on Venmo, I'm Daniel Daybreak. If you want to find me on LiveJournal in the Internet Archive, I'm Daniel Daybreak there. Like, literally anywhere. eBay, LinkedIn, like literally all the places. So, yeah, Daniel Daybreak. That's where you can find me. Wex, where can they find you?
You can always find your boy Wex at Wex Breaking the Lawson on all of your social medias. We're going to go and have a little, go ahead and say it right now, a little early happy birthday to Daniel over here.
Oh.
We're about to go party super fucking hard tomorrow night for his birthday.
Yeah. As you're hearing this, actually, it'll be the
yeah.
same
As you're
night.
listening to this, we may have some little TikTok videos of some fun stuff, some karaoke, maybe some hell raising, some beer drinking. We might get it on there. Might be a little party time. You know what I'm saying?
Some hell raising, some beer drinking. Hopefully, the wayward son of Wartrace will find a way to make it out there.
We're hoping so.
We're hoping so.
Slide,
me and
Jesse,
Wex.
slide.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. I'm really excited about it. Jesse, where can they find you though?
Man, Jesse Baker Nash on Twitter and Instagram. Regular old Jesse Baker on Facebook. And right now, that's about it until we come up with a special announcement for a Nashville event in December that's forthcoming shortly.
That is true. That is very true. We got good things in the works for the podcast, for the musics, for the future of what's going to happen in 2023 for the rest of us. It's going to be a really good time. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for hanging out this week. We will see you all next week. We're out. Peace.